Hi, this is Robert Fuller, back again with blog number 2 on the subject of building a successful channel program around cloud services and solutions. I'm producing this series of 4 blogs focused on the cloud channel engagement model to help you, the channel sales and marketing professional, build a thriving channel program full of active growing partners that are advocates for your company. But to maximize your success, you need to understand the complete engagement model if you want to really accelerate your business. Working in the channel is not the easiest sales and marketing role. Actually, it's much harder than direct sales because you're partnering with another company to sell to their customer services or solutions that your partner will be held responsible for. You're aligning with and leveraging the partner's resources, working within the partner's time frame and priorities, and leveraging their trusted advisor status with a customer. You're giving up many aspects of control over the sales and support process. That's not easy, with partner and customer satisfaction being paramount to a healthy, happy, productive channel program. You have to be the master of relationships, from the hosted services provider and/or vendor through your partner to their customer. That's why the cloud channel engagement model is so important, and it rewards those who effectively manage all these relationships. Once again, this blog is brought to you with the help of Philip Moon and the Channel Enablers team. Thanks again, guys. The next slide will be familiar to those that heard my first blog. Here's a brief summary. This is a simplistic way of how I see cloud channel engagement. The 3 key relationships between the managed hosting and/or cloud service provider, the customer, and the channel partner. I also have the foundation for these relationships being the hosted infrastructure, platform, and application services being delivered by the channel to the end customer. I briefly covered the hosted services in my first blog, the customer, which I'll be focusing on in this blog, the channel partner in my next blog, and the hosted service provider or vendor in my 4th blog. We may also produce a 5th blog answering some of your specific questions, so please email me with your questions at robert@thatchannelguy.com. As mentioned previously, for the purpose of these blogs, I'm calling those businesses that provide managed hosting and/or cloud services hosted service providers. This includes companies like Amazon, Rackspace, and Cadero in the US, and Hostaway, FastHost, and Peer1 in the UK. I've also included vendors in this box because their technology is often bundled with infrastructure services as part of the solution the customer and partner consume. These solutions may be sold by the hosted services provider or the vendor. I view the customer as the most important part of this engagement model. Without them, we don't have a business. To be successful, we really need to maximize customer satisfaction throughout the sales and support process and help our channel partners deliver a positive experience. There are so many areas to cover when talking about customer engagement, and not really possible in a few-minute blog. My friends at Channel Enablers provide excellent course content around channel success essentials, highlighting both the whole product experience and responsibilities. I want to focus in this blog on one specific area that's a direct result of cloud-based solutions and services being available and represents a major shift in the customer's decision-making process. A November 2012 report commissioned by IT consultants Capgemini surveyed around 450 IT leaders and senior business managers globally and shows that the responsibility for cloud adoption has shifted significantly to employees outside the IT department. Business units make decisions on cloud 45.2% of the time, in comparison to IT with just slightly more than 46%. The report went on to say that almost half of all decisions around cloud in terms of budget, selection, and implementation are made from the business side. It means that IT decisions are being made by chief marketing officers, human resources management, procurement, finance and administration, That's quite a shift, and one that the channel must recognise. The next two slides focuses on very different aspects of the two decision-making groups, corporate IT and the business unit or BU. The first slide focuses on what motivates or influences their decision process, and the following slide on the solution or services environment and where it should best reside. These two groups behave very differently when identifying, evaluating and procuring IT solutions. It's important to look through their lens to better understand what's motivating each approach. Once again, I'm talking in generalities, and it doesn't apply to all situations, but I hope you'll find this to be a helpful guide. I've highlighted 5 different areas for consideration: a customer's needs and a customer's wants, their technical aptitude and technology adoption, and finally, the application profile. I won't go through each IT and BU behavioural response, but as you read through and compare them, you'll quickly see the difference between the responses for each profile. This can definitely influence how you and your partner position the services or solutions you're proposing. So now let's look at these two customer types, corporate IT and the business unit, from a different perspective. In one corner we have the business unit, which primarily focuses on departmental solutions, often project or event-based, often transactional in nature and time-driven. The BU's frustration with IT responsiveness and decision flexibility on what cloud options they can choose is driving business unit decision makers to move their IT needs off-premise. Meanwhile, corporate IT offers change management and compliance, management of SLAs, and the overall corporate management support they offer for cross-company IT solutions. While IT doesn't usually recommend to move a service or solution off-premise, they do have the formal processes to manage the entire project if off-premise is the preferred option. In the chart I have a scale on the X or horizontal axis and Y or vertical axis from 1 to 5. On the Y-axis, depending on the service or solution, as the importance of a solution's availability increases, it rises up the scale from 1 to 5. An example could be a departmental SharePoint site versus the corporate website. SharePoint could be down for a few hours, but the company website can't. Likewise, a departmental SharePoint site used by marketing to collaborate on projects might not have the same data integrity or security requirements of, say, the company's e-commerce site. Once again, the scale moves from 1 to 5 as the importance of data integrity or risk associated with the data increases. As the scale rises, so does the value of corporate IT's experience, as it becomes an asset to the business unit. This motivates the decision-making to be collaborative between both parties. I've included some basic examples to highlight this point. So based on this chart, it's also important to consider the initial and longer-term evolution of the service or solution your partner is proposing, and how it may evolve from IT to the BU and back to IT based on initial adoption and longer-term management. Over the last 6 to 7 minutes, I've highlighted that your partner's relationships are no longer relegated to the IT department, but shift to the business units where decisions are also being made. Your partner needs to build additional muscles to engage both IT and BU decision makers and continually re-establish their trusted advisor status within the organisation. With a good understanding of what influences corporate IT and BU decision making and where the service or solution best resides, you and your partner can then position them appropriately within the IT department and the business unit. In the next blog, blog number 3, we'll move from the customer to the channel partner and do a deep dive into really understanding how you can help your partner community bridge to the new cloud engagement model. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks to Channel Enablers for giving me the opportunity to produce this blog. And finally, if you have any questions, please email me at robert@thatchannelguy.com.